Okay, let's talk about this whole Lionsgate portal thing. The deeper, the more rooted truth behind this powerful portal, not just the glittery manifest your dream life kind of vibe. Every year around August 8th, we get this real surge of spiritual hype around something called the Lionsgate portal. There's a lot of controversy now also surfacing within the astrology world, spiritual world. If you are a spiritual or witchy baddie, your FYP has really been laid brick by brick, and you are probably tuned in to spiritual talk or witch talk. And you've probably heard that this is a powerful time to manifest abundance, to open up your heart chakra, to align with the higher self and download these divine cosmic upgrades. There's a lot of truth to that, yes, but there's a deeper meaning behind this time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to align yourself, wanting alignment, wanting clarity and expansion, wanting to create a better life for yourself. Those desires are very human, very beautiful, and very real. But we also need to zoom out and remember the origins of this cosmic moment, because this portal is so much more than just a vibe. It's a remembrance. It's connection to ancestral lineage. And so, I don't know, it might be a really nice intentional time to align with practitioners and facilitators that actually align with the ancestral ties to this cosmic gateway. I've learned a lot in my spiritual path. I'd say that I intentionally started exploring my spirituality around 2017, kind of dipping my toes in the spiritual waters and seeing what resonated. But then I would say over the last 5 years, started to move with more depth. I've been, a lot of shifting has been going on, and just going into things with a lot more depth. In the beginning, I would say that I definitely did get pulled into the world of New Age spirituality. And honestly, at the time, it served me well. It did give me language for things that I've always felt: energy, intuition, past lives, synchronicities, spirit, right? Conversations around spirit. There were parts that these parts really cracked me open in really amazing ways and helped to align me on my path. At a certain point, I started to really realize, really become clear, there's a lot missing from these teachings. I became really aware of how much New Age, modern day spirituality is just modern day colonization. The practices are disconnected from land, from ancestry, from justice, from reality. And so that's when I started taking some decolonial courses and doing a lot of research and taking workshops, learning, healing, unlearning. And through that process, I slowly began to reconnect with the spiritual practices of my own lineage, of my African, Caribbean, Scottish connections. I started to remember that spirituality, my spiritual abilities, have always lived in my blood. It's ancestral. It's communal. It's layered with memory and survival and magic and resistance. This realignment really shifted everything for me. It shifted not only my personal practice, it shifted who I connected with in the spiritual realm, in the spiritual world. It shifted how I move in the world, how I relate to community, and how I show up and offer my spiritual offerings. Healing is something that we do together in relationship with spirit, with land, and with lineage. So let's crack this whole conversation wide open and let's take it back to the roots with Sirius, with ancient Africa, ancient Egypt, and real sky magic. Let's discuss the Lionsgate portal. Connected in the Den, a cozy, no bullshit space where we talk energy, intuition, healing, and real life spiritual stuff without the freaking fluff. Think soul convos, ancestral wisdom, alien magic, and the occasional cosmic rant, all from the comfort of your inner cave. I hope you feel connected in the den. So, long before the Lionsgate portal became a trending spiritual buzzword, the rising of Sirius, the brightest star in our sky, was deeply sacred in ancient Kemet, what we now call Egypt. The rising of Sopdet, Sirius, marked the Kemetic New Year. So this was a time of renewal, realignment, restoration. And this rising of Sirius wasn't just about personal blessings, right? It was about the rebirth of the land, the people, the earth, the seasons, everything moving in rhythm and harmony together, reminding us that we're part of something so much bigger. So this portal period activates, and there's a lot of different dates on this from my research. Some date back to the solstice, some date to July 26th, around those dates between the 24th, 25th, 26th, which is considered a portal or New Year in Mayan cosmology. So this was the beginning of a new cycle in the Hab calendar. And now many ancient cultures, not just the Maya, the Kemet, Egypt, the Dogon people of Mali, and others all recognized Sirius as this cosmic transmitter. So this connection to wisdom and life force energy. The July 26th galactic New Year is like the opening of this powerful energetic container. And by August 12th, Sirius will have fully risen into its seasonal place, right, in the early morning sky. So August 8th becomes a peak or climax of that container. So think of it like a culmination point of energy that's building since the opening, I guess you could say the opening of the portal, around the 26th. So if you are feeling things really stirring and activating and shifting this whole season, this whole portal, but primarily between the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 8/8, that's completely valid because this whole period is a pretty significant portal of acceleration, of awakening, of transition, of evolution. I want to note that the traditional Mayan timekeeping system is really complex. It's rooted in mathematics, astronomy, and ceremony and community, and it has been distorted and oversimplified by New Age interpretations. So just a reminder for us to honor it and all ancient practices and traditions respectfully, acknowledge the indigenous roots of the wisdom, avoid cherry picking or appropriating, sacred traditions and teachings, using these moments not just for personal magic, but to remember our role in collective healing of land, people, and spirit. Okay. Sirius was associated with Isis, the divine mother and magician, connected to deep feminine wisdom, resurrection, and intuitive knowing. This was energy for the collective, not just for individual gain. It was about cycles of death and rebirth, of releasing what no longer nourishes and then reclaiming the sacred. So this is a whole different vibe from how the 8/8 Lionsgate gets talked about in some circles now. Like, it's not just about manifesting a luxury trip or calling in a 6-figure income or getting a new ride. No shade, but it goes way deeper than that. So let's talk about the truth about the alignment, because the stars are not literally lining up on 8/8. The alignment that is often spoken about during Lionsgate, which involves the sun in Leo, The rising of Sirius and Orion's belt is no longer a literal alignment in the sense of everything lining up in this cosmic straight parade or the straight row. Sirius does rise in early August in the Northern Hemisphere, and this rising meaning its first visible appearance before dawn. So this rising was important to ancient Africans. It signaled the annual flooding of the Nile, which was very important for life in Kemet because it brought nutrients to the land that allowed crops to grow in a desert landscape. The rising of Sopdet Sirius happened just before the flooding happened. So Sirius became like this predictor of agricultural rebirth and fertility. Basically, the entire survival and rhythm of society was connected to this very cycle. It also marked Wepet Renpet, meaning the opening of the year. So this was like the Egyptian New Year. It wasn't on a fixed specific date like how we celebrate modern day New Year's. It was determined by the appearance of Sirius. So there was feasting, spiritual and religious celebrations, and honoring of deities and ancestors in the unseen. So 8/8 is a symbolic celebration now. The rising of Sirius can vary by location and obviously has shifted, right, with the shifting of the earth. But there is still deep symbolic spiritual resonance with this particular celestial celebration. The sun is in Leo, yes, which is why I still call this the Lionsgate portal. The Leo energy is bold and heart-centered and deeply creative and expressive. Sirius does rise, as I mentioned, in early August. And the number 8 in numerology is all about infinity, balance, and karmic cycles. And I'll dive into that in just a sec. So symbolically, spiritually, it's juicy. This is a powerful and fertile cycle. The symbolism matters because we are still moved by myth. We are shaped by story. These celestial rhythms are invitations for us, reminders. Let me touch on the numerology. Of the number 8. It's often associated with abundance and power, with material success in numerology. 8 is less about climbing ladders and more about how we move powerfully, ethically, spiritually through this world, especially within systems that are not built for our thriving. At its core, 8 speaks to balance. The kind that reminds us that what we put out echoes back to us in the world, right? That energy is part of a much larger circle of reciprocity. The number 8, with its infinite loop shape, reminds us that we're always co-creating, co-collaborating, in relationship with the world around us, with the universe, with the cosmos. Hey, I don't want to keep you from this episode, but I do want to share an awesome summer offer that I have going on. If you're looking to deepen and understand your psychic and mediumship abilities and skills, plus strengthen your connection to your departed loved ones in spirit and spirit guides, maybe develop your intuition, I have a self-paced course, The Awakened Way, an introduction to personal mediumship. There are 4 chapters, 11 lessons, 2 guided meditations that you can't find anywhere else, and some tools that you can download to support your spiritual development. Bonus, I'm offering this juicy course at 50% off this summer. Yeah, 50% off, baby. Head to thewanderinglioness.com/specials to learn more. This is where the colonized version, I guess you could say, in numerology with the number 8, that manifestation equals more money and visibility, where this narrative really starts to unravel, because real abundance is not rooted in extraction. It's not about hoarding resources or manifesting this wealthy life while your neighbor starves, or raising your vibration while ignoring the cries from the land beneath us. There's a deeper lesson of the energy with the number 8. That is how we steward energy, how we hold power. And are we doing so in service of liberation, not just for ourselves, but for the generations that are coming after us? 8 asks us to be accountable in ways that are sacred, ancestral, and incredibly relational. If you carry spiritual gifts, the ability to sense, to feel, to dream, to speak with the unseen, 8 invites us to stop hiding and start applying these gifts in very real, tangible ways in your community, in your work, and in your resistance. So when we talk about 8, on a day like August 8th, 8/8, we're really talking about a portal of remembrance. It's a day to realign with our higher selves and with our ancestors. It's a day to hold a vision not just for personal gain, but for collective healing. In the end, 8 doesn't just represent what you get. It reflects what you give, how you walk, and who you lift up with you. It's a mirror, not a pedestal. There's something I think to touch on as well in activating spiritual gifts and abilities, which I've touched on if you've been with me for a while. Activating spiritual gifts and abilities in portal energies, right? It tends to happen quite naturally for a lot of us. But there's something like developing spiritual gifts and abilities does not just have to do with your own personal path. It, again, influences how we connect with people and the change that we should be working towards for our society, for the future of the human species, for the future of the land and the animals of this planet. Developing your spiritual gifts really does ripple out in ways that I don't think a lot of people truly understand. But 8/8 can most definitely, this portal, this Lion's Gate, can most definitely activate these abilities in very real ways. So why the Lion's Gate? Again, I like to still call it the Lion's Gate, although some astrologers might be a little testy about that. But listen, this portal energy happens smack dab in the middle of Leo season. Lions are symbols of royalty, of sovereignty, and inner authority. And they date back to ancient African spirituality. So yes, the Lion's Gate is a time to remember your divinity, your magic, but it's also a time to remember your responsibility to yourself, to your lineage, to your community, and to this planet. This is like a cosmic check-in, right? It's spirit whispering, hey you, are you living aligned with your soul, or are you just chasing the shiny things of the material human world? This is heart energy, soul energy. Leo rules the heart. When I'm talking about heart energy, I mean real heart work, not just what's cute and curated. Sometimes this means grieving. Sometimes this means owning your shadows. Sometimes it means relearning how to love, not just people you like, but those our society continues to try to throw away. This is a collective portal. It is not just a personal power-up. This is the part that often gets left out in New Age spaces. The Lion's Gate portal isn't just for you, it's for us. We are in wild times. It is insane, truly, like late stage capitalism, soul crushing, heartbreaking, devastating injustice, climate collapse, state sanctioned violence, entire groups of people fighting for survival, from Gaza to Congo to indigenous lands across Turtle Island. Right now, in our local neighborhoods, folks are suffering in silence. displaced by housing crisis, abandoned in mental health spirals, criminalized for addiction, some without access to clean drinking water. All while billionaires blast off into space. And you're telling me we're going to use this portal just to manifest a new car? No, babe, we can dream much bigger than that. This portal is literally like a cosmic microphone. What do we want the universe to hear? What do we want future generations to feel from the spells that we cast right now? Again, not only that, portals like this are not just energetic upgrades, they're windows between worlds. The veils between the seen and unseen get thinner. Therefore, the presence of our ancestors, our guides, our deeper knowing, during this time all comes in closer and clearer. And this is in unconscious and conscious ways. The power of portals, like the Lion's Gate, isn't just in the stars or in the numerology alone. It is the collective intention, the focused energy of many beautiful souls tuning in, opening up, and aligning at the same time. When large groups of people are praying, are meditating, are visioning, grieving, are setting intentions all at the same time, that literally amplifies the energetic field. It makes it so much easier to receive guidance and to activate spiritual gifts, move energy on both the seen and unseen levels. That collective frequency is what thins the veils, not just between worlds, but also between people. It helps dissolve the illusion of separation. And that's where the real magic and real change can really, start to take root. It's why it's such a prime time to strengthen our spiritual gifts, our intuition, our empathy, mediumship, our ability to sense what's not being said, and to dream what's not yet visible, what's not yet in reality. These are ancestral technologies. Let's keep it real. These are ancestral technologies that have helped our people survive, help them organize, heal, and protect generations. Tuning in to these gifts now isn't just about personal awakening. It's also about collective repair. Because when you can truly hear your inner voice, when you can channel messages from spirit, when your heart's sensitivity is a superpower, not a burden, you show up differently. You make decisions that are really soul-led. You notice who's being left out, and you take action. You imagine better systems, and you create those better systems. You hold the grief of the world without collapsing under it. This is how we start to fix what's broken, by becoming more deeply connected to it and each other, not escaping it, not ascending above it all. Okay, so how do we align with the energy of the Lionsgate portal? How do we align with the energy of 8-8? Like for real, for real. If the energy of this Lionsgate 8-8 portal aligns with you, and it might not, that's completely and perfectly okay. But if you are feeling the connection to the energy of this time, to tap in, here's how we can do it with depth, with care, and with intention. Number 1, root yourself in ancestry. Ask yourself, what am I here to remember? What wisdom lives in my blood, my bones, my lineage? I'll tell you, it's very difficult to record this outside. I keep having to stop, pause, and keep going at it just so that the noises of the animals aren't too disturbing. I'm going to stop doing that just because I'm also kind of sitting here laughing. So I'm like, this is literally what I'm talking about, how we are all connected and in relation to each other. And we have to respect and honor each other's space and energy. These wind chimes in the background, anchoring in that message. So root yourself in ancestry. Now's the time to honor the traditions that this portal comes from, to speak to your ancestors, to connect to your personal lineage, to leave offerings, to sing the old songs and cook traditional meals, or just sit in silence and just listen for their whispers. It's also a great time to work with spirit guides and the earth as I connect to all these nature noises. Connect with the land that you're on. Acknowledge who were the original caretakers. Connect to those energies. Offer something back, a prayer, a donation, a real commitment to being in right relationship with land and spirit and community. I would also set intentions for the collective. Number 3. Yes, call in healing, abundance, and courage for yourself, but also call in housing for the unhoused. Resources for those in addiction and mental health crisis. Justice for the oppressed. Protection for water, for land, and future generations. That's real magic. A huge thing also that we can do is gather and amplify, whether it's in a group meditation, a prayer circle, a protest, or a potluck. Group intention shifts timelines. I am so dead ass right now. Like, I'm so serious. When we gather with purpose, we literally raise frequency. Like, proven and raised frequency is not just about feeling blissed out, right? It's about becoming more effective channels for love, for abundance, for real change. So that would segue me into manifesting with integrity, because manifestation isn't about bypassing struggle. It's about alchemizing it. It's asking not just what do I want to have, but who am I becoming? So maybe your next manifestation isn't a product. Maybe it's not an item, but it's a practice. Maybe it's a boundary. Maybe it's a commitment. Maybe it's just a really heart-centered, bold decision to live softer or louder or more alive or more connected. The 8-8 portal is a portal to what really matters. Okay? The Lionsgate portal is not just an event. It's a reminder. It's a check-in that we belong to each other, that spirit isn't separate from the struggle, that magic and justice are meshed together, that both our joy and our grief matter. During the 8-8 portal, don't just set intentions for your own path. Open your heart to the collective heartbeat, to the collective pulse. Let your light, let your magic spread outward. Let your love, let your intentions be strategic. Let your manifestations be injected, infused with memory, with movement, and with meaning. When we show up like that, when we show up with intention, with humility, integrity, with our hearts truly blasted open in true Leo fashion, portals open everywhere. Everywhere. In our homes, in our streets, in our friendships, in our systems, in our fields, in our spirits. That's real magic, my darlings. That's real fucking magic. So just a reminder, every year on 8/8, I hold a really sweet online portal, a little gathering. I offer a collective healing practice, some witchy rituals, different practices and reminders for us. It's just a nice space to connect, with like-minded, heart-centered beings. So if you're connecting with this before 8/8, then feel free to head to thewanderinglioness.com, or you can check out the links in the show notes and join us for this collective celebration. But I'm wishing you all whether you celebrate the Lionsgate portal or just the 8/8, whatever, maybe you're just tapped into the magic of Leo season. I'm wishing you healing, magic, peace, creative, tapped into your creative expression and inspiration, and let that spread out to everyone you connect with. This Lionsgate portal, Leo season, and beyond. Thank you so much for curling up in the den with me today. Your energy, your presence, and your curiosity truly mean the world. If something in this episode stirred something in you, made you think, made you laugh, made you feel a little more connected, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. Share this podcast with a fellow wild heart, a cosmic kin, or someone who's just walking their own path of remembering. That's how we keep growing this pride, one beautiful freaking sacred soul at a time. This space is a labor of love, and your support helps it reach the people who need it most. My darling, this lioness is always rooting for your roar. Until next time, be curious, be inspired, and be blessed. See you soon on Connected in the Den.